sat in a room at Violator when Chris Lighty was managing a particular artist, and that artist interrupted my meeting. And my father was in the room, you know? So we cleared out the air, and the confession was made on the other person's part that yes, they lied. But if that will ever come out from the person's mouth, who knows? Who cares? I've addressed it. And
in what many are now calling her most powerful and emotional conversation, Mia sat down for an interview that feels very different when you watch it today. At first, it seems normal, but as the moments unfold, the things she says hit much deeper now. Come with us as we take a closer look at everything she shared. Being Maya. Born in October 10, 1979, in Washington, D.C., Maya Harrison came into a world where music and discipline lived under the same roof. Her father, Sherman, known to most people just as Sherm, was a singer in a local R&B group called Jump Street. On weekends, he would perform around the D.C. area, coming home late, still carrying the smell of stage smoke and cologne. Her mother, Teresa, was the complete opposite in personality, quiet, focused, and steady. She worked as an accountant and kept the household grounded while Sherman chased his love for music. Maya was the oldest of 3 children, with 2 younger brothers, Chaz and Nigel. But even as a small child, there was something different about her. From the moment she could stand, she moved like she was hearing music no one else could hear. Rhythm wasn't something she learned, it was something she already had. Dance became her first language. By the age of 4, she was already studying ballet. Not long after, she added tap and jazz to her routine. She wasn't just doing it for fun, she was serious, focused, and committed. By the time she turned 10, she joined a dance group called Tappers with Attitude, a name that perfectly captured the bold, expressive energy of the 1990s. But the moment that truly changed everything came a few years later. One day, the legendary tap dancer Savion Glover visited D.C. for a workshop connected to the Dance Theater of Harlem. Young Maya showed up like any other student, but she didn't leave like one. The moment she started dancing, it was clear she had something rare. She didn't just follow the steps, she felt the rhythm, reacted to it, and created something new in real time. Savion Glover saw it instantly. He gave her something almost unheard of, a solo performance at the Kennedy Center. Not part of a group, not a small role, a full solo, and she was only 14 years old. That moment wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. By 15, she was already teaching hip-hop and jazz to other kids. Before she even had a driver's license, she was already working as a professional. But while her talent was growing, her personal life came with challenges. Growing up biracial in the DC suburbs, with a black father and a white mother, was not always easy. Maya quickly learned what it felt like to exist in between worlds. At school, she faced bullying and judgment from both sides. Some said she was too light. Others said she was too dark. She didn't fully fit into any group, and that kind of isolation leaves a mark. But instead of breaking her, it built something inside her, a quiet strength, a kind of emotional toughness that would later define how she handled fame, pressure, and everything that came with it. As her dancing grew stronger, something else started to emerge, her voice. Her father noticed the shift right away. Being a musician himself, Sherman understood what he was hearing. So he did what any determined father would do. He started sharing her demo tapes with anyone who would listen. One of those tapes landed in the hands of Haq Islam, the president and CEO of University Records, which was connected to Interscope Records. But instead of just listening to the tape, Islam did something more personal. He came to their home. He sat in their living room and asked Maya to sing right there, face to face. At first, she was nervous. You could see it in her hands, the way they moved slightly as she stood there. But once she started singing, something changed. The nerves faded. Her voice filled the room in a way that felt much bigger than the space she was in, like she was performing in a packed arena instead of a quiet home. By the time she finished, the decision was already made. She was signed. Maya briefly attended the University of Maryland, but it didn't last long. After just one semester, she made a choice that would change her life. She left school to focus fully on music. By 17, she had a record deal. And not long after that, everything started moving fast. There was no slow introduction to fame, no gentle build-up. It hit her all at once. In April 1998, she released her debut album, Maya. She was just 18 years old. The lead single, It's All About Me, featuring Cisco from Dru Hill, quickly climbed the charts. It reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and earned a gold certification. The album itself went platinum, selling over 1.6 million copies in the United States before she even turned 19. But that wasn't the moment that truly changed everything. That same year, actor and director Warren Beatty released a film called Bulworth. It needed a standout song for its soundtrack, and producer Wyclef Jean brought together an unexpected mix of artists, including Pras, Old Dirty Bastard, and a young newcomer named Maya. The result was Ghetto Superstar, That Is What You Are, and when it dropped, it blew up. The song topped charts in over a dozen countries, reached the top 15 in the US, and earned a Grammy nomination. It was everywhere, on the radio, in stores, on TV. You couldn't escape it. Overnight, Maya wasn't just a new artist, she was a global name. The hits kept coming. Take Me There, featuring Blackstreet and Mace, became another major success, connecting her with a wide audience across different age groups. By the end of 1999, she had multiple hit songs, a platinum album, and a level of momentum most artists spend years trying to reach. Then came her second album, Fear of Flying, released in 2000. At first, things didn't go exactly as planned. Some singles didn't perform as strongly as expected. But hidden within the album was a song that would change everything. Case of the Ex, What Ya Gonna Do, produced by Rodney Darkchild Jerkins. Once radio stations picked it up, the impact was immediate. The song shot up to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, reached number 1 in Australia, and became one of the defining tracks of her career. It proved something important. She didn't need a feature. She didn't need anyone else to carry the moment. She could stand on her own. By 2001, the numbers told a powerful story. Millions of albums sold worldwide, multiple top 10 hits, a Grammy nomination, and magazine covers everywhere. And she was only 21. From the outside, it looked like the beginning of a long, unstoppable run, the kind of career that turns into a dynasty. But what she didn't yet realize was this: success in the music industry often comes with hidden costs. And sometimes, the hardest choices aren't the ones you make in public, but the ones you make behind closed doors. And while the pressure of fame was lurking underneath, Maya found something more than music. It wasn't just music for Mia. By 2002, she had already started stepping into a bigger space, not just as a singer, but as a full entertainer. That year, she landed a role in the movie Chicago, directed by Rob Marshall. In the film, she performed the iconic Cell Block Tango alongside Renee Zellweger and Catherine Zeta-Jones. It was bold. It was dramatic. Fishnet stockings, sharp choreography, and that unforgettable chant, Pop, Six, Squish, Cicero, echoing across the set. And the movie didn't just do well, it dominated. Chicago went on to win Best Picture at the Oscars. The cast also took home a Screen Actors Guild Award. Just like that, Mia wasn't only known for her voice anymore. She was now a SAG Award-winning actress in an Oscar-winning film. That changed everything. Her image grew bigger, brands noticed, and the deals started rolling in. She partnered with major names like Coca-Cola, Pantene, CoverGirl, Tommy Hilfiger, Motorola, Gap, and Escada. Her face was everywhere. From soda ads to beauty campaigns to high-end fashion, she had become a full brand, not just an artist. Then came her next album, Mood Ring, released in July 2003. It had a strong start, debuting at number 3 on the Billboard 200 chart, selling over 100,000 copies in its first week. The lead single, My Love Is Like, Whoa, produced by Missy Elliott, became a hit, climbing into the top 20 on the Hot 100 and eventually earning a gold certification. On paper, everything looked solid. But the industry doesn't just look at numbers, it looks in the direction. Her previous album, Fear of Flying, had sold over 1.2 million copies. Her debut had done even better, reaching around 1.6 million. So even though Mood Ring performed well, the trend was clear. The numbers were going down, and in the music business, that's what raises concern. Behind the scenes, that pressure started to build. Expectations got heavier. Creative differences began to surface. And slowly, the tension around her career started to grow, even while everything on the outside still looked successful. That's where things began to shift, but what exactly happened during this time? The happenings behind the scenes. As Maya's career kept rising, there was another side of the industry she had to face, one that had nothing to do with talent. Behind the scenes, there was pressure, not just to make hits, but to play a certain game. Years later, in interviews like Ebro in the Morning, Maya opened up about what was really happening during that time. She revealed that people on her own team, managers, and publicists were pushing her to date powerful men in the industry. Not for love, not for connection, but for attention, for headlines, for album sales. They wanted her to create what they called publicity relationships, the kind that would keep her name trending, keep her face in blogs, and keep people talking. But Maya wasn't built for that. She said no, every single time. And eventually, she did something most artists would never risk. She fired them. Now, that might sound simple, but it wasn't. Firing your management team in the middle of an album cycle, especially when your career is already slowing down, is a dangerous move. The music industry runs on connections, favors, and relationships. Walking away from that system isn't just business, it's personal. And from that moment on, things started to shift. From the outside, the early 2000s still looked like Maya was winning. She had hits, recognition, and a strong fan base. But behind the scenes, the foundation was starting to crack. And then, something happened that made everything worse. In 2005, hip-hop was dominated by one of its biggest rivalries, 50 Cent versus The Game. It was a full-blown war. Diss tracks, interviews, radio shots, everywhere you looked, they were going at each other. Maya had nothing to do with it. But somehow, she got pulled into it anyway. During the feud, The Game had once mentioned her name in a lyric. It didn't mean much at the time, just a passing line. But when 50 Cent released a diss track aimed at him, everything changed. In that song, he claimed he had slept with Maya, just like that. No conversation, no truth to it, according to her. Just a line in a song that spread across the internet like wildfire. And in that moment, her name became part of a story she never agreed to be in. Back then, that's how things often worked. Women's names were used in rap battles as weapons, as proof, as insults, as entertainment. But for Maya, the timing couldn't have been worse. At that exact moment, her career was already in a fragile place. Her fourth album, Control Freak, had been shelved. She had just left both her management team and her label, A&M Records. No label, no team, no clear direction. And now, on top of that, her name was being dragged into a public controversy. But she didn't stay silent. In 2007, she addressed it directly in an interview, making it clear that the claim wasn't true. She shut it down calmly, but firmly. Then came a moment people still remember. At a red carpet event, a reporter from 50 Cent's own platform approached her for an interview. Cameras were rolling, microphones were out. She looked straight ahead and declined. Then she made it clear that he had lied about her. It was one of those moments where you could see exactly who she was. No performance, no pretending. Just someone protecting her name, even while everything around her was falling apart. In an industry built on image, perception becomes reality. And for a woman trying to be taken seriously, being labeled as someone's conquest can quietly damage opportunities. In 2006, she signed with Universal Motown. New label, new energy, a chance to rebuild. She went into the studio and worked fast, recording an album called Liberation in just 3 months. 16 tracks, focused, personal, determined. The lead single, Lock You Down, featured Lil Wayne, who at the time was one of the biggest names in music. On paper, everything looked right. But what happened next told a different story. The label delayed the album, not once, not twice, 3 times. Each delay slowly killed the momentum. The excitement faded before the music even had a chance to land. When the single was released, it barely got support. No strong push to the radio, no major video rollout, no real promotion. And then things got even worse. The album was accidentally leaked overseas. Within days, it spread across the internet. Instead of fixing the situation, the label quietly released it in limited markets like Japan and Canada, digitally only. Just like that, months of work disappeared into the background. It felt like the system had simply stopped showing up for her. And while all of this was happening, there were whispers. Fans and industry insiders started asking questions. Why did things seem to stall after certain moments in her career? Why did doors close even when the talent was still there? Some of those conversations pointed back to her earlier collaboration with Jay-Z. But it's important to be clear, Maya has never publicly accused him of anything in that context. What she has spoken about openly is the pressure, the expectations, the idea that women sometimes face consequences for refusing to go along with certain demands. And when you look at the pattern, it raises questions. Her debut album sold over 1 million copies. So did her second. But after that, the numbers dropped sharply, not necessarily because the audience disappeared, but because the support system behind her started to weaken. By the time Liberation came out, it barely had a chance. So in 2008, she made a decision that changed everything. She walked away. She left Universal Motown. She stepped away from the major label system completely. No more waiting for approval. No more depending on people who weren't showing up. And in that quiet space, something new started to grow. With guidance from Jay, Prince, the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records, she began building her own path. She created her independent label, Planet 9, and from that point forward, everything changed. She took control of her music, writing it, producing it, mixing it, releasing it on her own terms, with no one telling her who to be or how to act. The person of Maya. Underneath the platinum plaques, the headlines, and all the industry drama, there was another side to Mia, a side built on discipline, resilience, and quiet wins that didn't always make the front page. One of those moments came when she joined Dancing with the Stars during its 9th season. Paired with professional dancer Dimitri Chaplin, Mia wasn't just a contestant, she was a standout from the very beginning. Week after week, she delivered sharp, controlled performances that reminded people exactly where she came from. Dance. But then, in week 6, everything almost fell apart. She suffered a serious ankle sprain, the kind of injury that usually sends contestants home early, with a polite goodbye and a recap of their best moments. For most people, that would have been the end of the journey. For Mia, it wasn't. Instead of walking away, she stayed. Every week after that, she taped up her ankle and stepped back onto that stage. Smiling for the cameras, hitting every move, pushing through pain that most viewers never fully saw. It wasn't just about competing anymore. It was about proving something to herself. And somehow, she didn't just survive, she thrived. She earned perfect scores, straight 30s, in 2 of the final rounds. It was the kind of performance run that should have sealed the win. But in the end, she placed second, losing to Donny Osmond, a performer with decades of fame and a loyal fan base behind him. Still, the way she handled it said everything. She smiled, embraced her partner, and walked off that stage with grace. No complaints, no excuses. Just the same quiet strength she had shown throughout her entire career. But some of the most important moments in her life didn't happen on stage. They happened behind closed doors. In 2012, Mia and her father found themselves in a meeting at Violator Management, inside the office of Chris Lighty. Lighty was one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop, managing major artists and shaping careers behind the scenes. During that meeting, something unexpected happened. According to Mia, another artist walked into the room, someone connected to a past controversy involving her name. She never said the name publicly, but the context was clear enough for those who had followed her story. In that moment, she says, the truth came out. The person admitted that they had lied. It was the kind of confession that could have cleared her name publicly, changed the narrative, and rewritten years of misunderstanding. But it stayed in that room. And then, on August 2012, Chris Lighty passed away. Just like that, one of the few people who could have backed up that moment was gone. For Mia, it meant that some parts of her story would never be fully confirmed in the way people expect. And sometimes, that's how life works. Truth doesn't always come with an audience. In 2013, she made a decision that confused a lot of people. She married herself, not as a joke, not for attention, but as a real, personal commitment. After leaving what she described as a toxic relationship, Mia chose to focus fully on herself, her healing, her growth, her peace. The ceremony was symbolic, but the meaning behind it was real. It was about self-respect, about choosing herself in a world that had constantly tried to define her. The internet didn't understand it. People laughed. Blogs mocked her. Social media turned it into a trending topic. But Mia didn't react. She didn't argue or try to explain herself beyond what she felt was necessary. She stood by her decision and kept moving forward. And then, quietly, she reminded everyone what she was capable of. On Valentine's Day in 2016, she released an album called Smooth Jones through her independent label, Planet 9. There was no major promotion, no big marketing campaign, no industry machine behind it. The album had a different feel, smooth, layered with jazz and neo-soul influences. It sounded like someone who wasn't chasing trends anymore, but instead, creating from a place of honesty. A lot of the mainstream audience missed it, but the industry didn't. When the nominations for the 59th Annual Grammy Awards were announced, Smooth Jones was right there in the Best R&B Album category. It was her first solo Grammy nomination, and it proved something important. She never needed permission to be great. By 2018, she was ready to speak more openly about her journey. In interviews, she talked honestly about the pressures she faced early in her career, including being pushed to date for publicity, and how she chose to walk away instead. That same year, she released TKO, The Knockout, marking 20 years since her debut. And when she performed Case of the X, What Ya Gonna Do, during the 106 and Park anniversary celebration, it hit just as hard as it did decades earlier. The crowd knew every word. She continued to show up, touring, performing, and reconnecting with fans. She even joined Brandy and Monica on the Boy Is Mine tour, bringing that same energy back to the stage. Then came 2026, a full-circle moment. She released new music, including the single ASAP, leading into her album Retrospect. She performed at major events like Essence's Black Women in Hollywood Luncheon, and she was announced as a special guest on the Pussycat Dolls World Tour, alongside Lil' Kim. The music industry has always had talent. What it hasn't always had is space for artists who refuse to compromise. Mia didn't step back because she lacked ability. She stepped back because she chose not to play a game that didn't align with who she was. And the system responded the way it often does. It moved on without her. But being out of the spotlight isn't the same as being gone. She built her own label, created her own music, earned recognition on her own terms. And over time, people started to see the full picture. Artists like Tinashe, Normani, Chloe Bailey, and Kaylani are part of a lane that Mia helped shape, a space where you can sing, dance, act, and move across genres without being boxed in. Her influence didn't disappear, it just evolved. And years later, when Billboard recognized her as one of the top women artists of the 21st century, it wasn't about nostalgia. It was about facts. Millions of records sold, major awards, chart-topping hits, a legacy built early and sustained through resilience. So when people ask, what happened to Mia? The real answer is simple. Nothing happened to her, she chose herself, and she never looked back. Beyond the music, the charts, and the headlines, there's another part of Mia's story that doesn't get talked about enough, how she used her platform to give back. In 2005, at a time when her career was still moving at full speed, she created her own nonprofit, the Maya Arts and Tech Foundation. The goal was simple but powerful: to help young people who didn't have access to opportunities, using art and technology as tools for growth. It wasn't just about music or dance. It was about giving kids a way to express themselves and build a future at the same time. And she didn't stop there. In 2007, she took her influence international, appearing at the Lifeball fashion event in Vienna, a major fundraiser focused on fighting HIV and AIDS. It showed that her reach went far beyond entertainment. She was stepping into global issues and using her voice for awareness. Back home, she continued to show up for causes that mattered. She hosted fundraisers for Schooled, supporting homeless LGBTQ+ youth, and openly stood for equality by participating in events like the Out 100 Awards. At a time when many artists stayed silent on certain topics, Mia made it clear where she stood. By 2009, her efforts only grew stronger. She chaired an event for Operation Smile, helping provide surgeries for children with facial conditions. She also took part in a writing project that allowed women to reflect on their younger years, sharing lessons and life experiences. Around that same time, she was honored by the National Society of Arts and Letters for her contributions, not just as an artist, but as someone who used her success to help others. In 2010, she became involved in several public campaigns. she supported True Colors Fund, founded by Cyndi Lauper, which focused on equality and support for LGBTQ+ youth. She also participated in the NOH8 campaign, a visual protest against discrimination. These weren't one-time appearances, they were part of a pattern, Mia consistently showing up for people who needed support. Then in 2017, she took part in a special musical collaboration that reflected her spiritual side. Alongside Dionne Warwick and a group of well-known artists, including Gladys Knight and Billy Ray Cyrus, she contributed to a gospel song titled "Let There Be Light." Every dollar made from that song went directly to Feeding America, helping fight hunger across the country. And in 2022, she stepped into a new role, becoming the first U.S. celebrity ambassador for World Animal Protection. It showed another side of her heart, her concern for animals and the environment. But her impact doesn't stop with charity. When people talk about influence, Mia's name keeps coming up. Publications like Vogue have pointed out how her style and sound helped shape a generation of artists. Singers like Tinashe, FKA Twigs, and Jhené Aiko all carry pieces of what she introduced, blending R&B, dance, and visual storytelling into something fluid and expressive. Writers from BBC Music have praised her ability to move between pop, R&B, and hip-hop without losing her identity. And platforms like The Daily Beast have described her as a trailblazer, someone who helped open doors for artists like Kehlani and others who don't fit neatly into one box. Even her music has stood the test of time. Songs like Case of the X, What Ya Gonna Do are still seen as defining records of early 2000 R&B, capturing a sound and energy that people still come back to years later. And then there's her versatility. Publications like Essence and The Washington Post have described her as a true triple threat. She wasn't just a singer. She could dance at a high level, act in major films like Chicago and Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, and hold her own in every space she entered. That mix of talent, discipline, and presence is rare, and it's why so many artists have named her as an inspiration. From Normani to Ari Lennox, Victoria Monet, and Chloe Bailey, you can see her influence in the way they move, perform, and express themselves. What makes Mia's story stand out isn't just the success she had early on, it's everything she chose to do with it. While others chased attention, she built something deeper. While the spotlight shifted, she stayed consistent in her values. And while the industry moved on to the next trend, her impact quietly continued to grow. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update.